after the law has been obeyed, what do we do with those documents? I mean, a colleague came to talk to me today, and I said, in the last few years, we've actually also been concerned with what do we do? Because, I mean, it will make sense for us, and I think that we're either going to be able to achieve it with this budget year or the next budget year. Or at some point, it is important that if today the totality of the aggregate expenditure that is contained in the estimates of the national budget, if you include the Shopee budget, climbs up to about 4.9 trillion. Now, what would be the totality of the aggregate expenditure of all the statutory corporations? What would that figure be? Both revenue and expenditure. Because it is important, because although the law, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, doesn't indicate what we should do after those documents have come, but I think we need to go beyond that and begin to appreciate the fact that unless we're able to capture in one figure what the total aggregate expenditure is, and this has to be the addition of what the estimates of the national budget as we are debating now, and the estimate, the totality, put them together and come up with one aggregate figure, we may never be able to capture in totality the entire expenditure that the country, does in each fiscal year. So I think that this becomes work in process. What is it, for example, that we're able to do, and what is it that we're able to, it's after we do so, then we can really appreciate, because the law will not just be insisting that those documents come just for the fun of it. Those documents will come. We need to be able to know what to do when those documents come. The practice before now has been the fact that when they come, as they have come, no matter how be it abridged, that the standing committees that have oversight responsibilities over the statutory corporations, for example, the Committee on Marine Transport, will normally oversee or sit and look at the budget of NPA and all that. The Committee on Banking and Currency will sit over the budget of CBN and all that. They just simply go and do so. It's no longer reported to the floor. So even when we pass the national budget, we still pass it as the estimates of the national budget, excluding the estimates of these other budgets of statutory corporations. I think that this is one of the things, since we have reached a point, and our politics and our democracy is evolving, is growing, is deepening. Since we have reached a point in which this kind of issue has come, I think that the essence of it is to further deepen our democracy and deepen what we do in terms of our budgetary practice. And I think that by the time we're able to achieve that, they would have gone beyond what we've always done, in the last years.
Okay, I would like to now take you up on the budget itself. Now we're in February, and hopefully the next 2-3 days, or at most the end of this week, debate should be completed and the budget hopefully pass through second reading. It will now fall to your committee. When can you say when you think this budget might complete its work through the National Assembly?
Well, the truth is, because the bill is still being debated, it was waiting to be, for debates to commence in the, in the House and all that. My committee has actually not met. The hope is that the day it gets committed, right, to the Committee on Appropriation for further action, in which we're going to be able to get other standing committees, could become our subcommittees and all that, we would be able to sit down as a Committee on Appropriation and fashion out a timetable that clearly indicates the timelines for committees to make returns and submissions and all that. Because don't forget, you still need to give standing committees an opportunity and some time to be able to engage with their various ministries, departments and agencies and all that. But my hope really is that all this process can get sorted out before, or at most by, the end of March. I mean, I'm just hoping that if we're able to achieve that, then I think that we would have done excellent. But I can't give any specific dates yet, because a proposal needs to be presented to my committee members. We need to look at it. We need to take that proposal after we agree to, a meeting that we're going to call with all standing committee chairs and their deputies and all that, because they need to buy into it before it makes sense. So until that is done, I cannot be any more specific and any more certain about it.
22 airports around the country, an industry that generates billions of life, connecting millions for business and leisure, will put you through the paces and give you an insider's view of the aviation industry. Watch Aviation This Week only on Channels Television. Aviation This Week, keeping an eye on the aviation industry.
Well, now to the main highlight of the week, the Senate investigation into the non-remittance of crude oil funds into the Federation account.
It's the continuation of the Senate investigative hearing on the non-remittance of crude oil funds into the Federation account. The CBN governor had accused the NNPC of not remitting $49.8 billion into the Federation account. However, at previous hearings, the NNPC and the Ministry of Finance admitted that $10.8 billion remained unaccounted for.
It's very, very important.
But the CBN governor revised the figures to $20 billion. The relevant agencies assured that the outstanding sum would be reconciled and presented to the committee, but failed to do so. At Thursday's hearing, the NNPC and the Petroleum Minister, Diezani Alison Madueke, provided the first official analysis of how the $10.8 billion was gulped by subsidy in petroleum products, crude oil, and products losses.
They were also going to the issue, of course, alluded to by the CBN governor regarding the NNPC's liftings attributable to NPDC, which we all know is its 100% owned subsidiary, and also the third-party finance liftings, which are related debts incurred for our joint venture projects.
I have to make this clarification because the impression is that NNPC is sitting on money. And I also want to make Nigerians understand that this money we're talking about is not, well, I've had comments about NNPC doesn't have source, NNPC, these are unrealizable flows.
The CBN governor then provided a summary of funds received by the Apex Bank and the irregularities identified.
So as far as the central bank is concerned, the most important point to establish is that there's a difference of $20 billion between what NNPC shipped and what it repatriated.
The finance minister said the NNPC has produced documents to support its claim of the shortfall of $10.8 billion, but she said the Ministry of Finance lacked the capacity and expertise to guarantee the authenticity of the documents. She also said the matter of whether the NPDC should remit all its revenue to the Federation account is a legal issue.
We asked for documents to back them up, which the NNPC brought. In looking at these documents, we did not feel we had the competence or expertise to be able to pronounce and verify, and that is why I've said that we need an independent forensic audit in order for us to be clear to us and all Nigerians that these documents and the certification is backed up by appropriate documents. On the issue of 20 billion, the additional charges made by the CBN, let me repeat that if you look at the matter carefully, the committee feels that this ranges around legal issues and that it therefore requires legal expertise to answer the question of who owns those monies, NNPC or the Federation account.
We will request you as Minister of Finance to so independently do a forensic audit of what PPRA has certified and submit your the report of such independent body to the committee.
The Senate committee said it would seek the advice of the Attorney General of the Federation, Mohammed Adoke, on the issue. The missing or unremitted funds is not the only controversy thrown up from this scandal. The CBN governor had also accused the NNPC of going ahead to pay subsidy on kerosene, even though there was a directive from a former president, Yar'Adua, to stop kerosene subsidy. The chairman of the committee, Senator Ahmed McCarthy, said the more than 800 billion naira, which the NNPC said accounted for kerosene subsidy between 2012 and 2013, was never budgeted for by the government. Senator McCarthy said that even where the NNPC spent the money on kerosene, it did so illegally, as no mandate had overturned a presidential directive on stoppage of subsidy on kerosene. The Petroleum Minister, Diezani Alison Madueke, is seeking legal interpretation on the legality of the deduction of subsidy on kerosene, saying there is no gazette authorizing withdrawal of kerosene subsidy.
We'll have to wait and see what not only the committee decides, but what the law decides as well. As you know, we've been standing on the Appropriation Act, the first line charge, but the National Assembly, say that it must be appropriated for. So let us see how this all evolves. The intent, of course, is to ensure that going forward, we are all on the same footing, on an even footing. And this issue of kerosene is one that is delineated in such a way that it is good for all Nigerians, both in terms of whatever price it finally lands at, whether there's a subsidy or no subsidy, and in terms of the availability, which I believe this administration has kept fully going since we came into office.
The public hearing will continue next Thursday.
Well, it appears there's still a lot to come in this probe. Don't worry, you can get all the details here on the program. As usual, I look forward to your contributions on some of the reports that were presented here. Remember, these are your representatives. You need to know what they're doing and monitor them. And remember, keep your contributions short and straight to the point so we can take more of your views on the program. Well, this is where we round up this week. Till next week, on the gavel, I'm Lanro Lasese. Bye.